I was reborn with my girlfriend back in the cramped basement apartment we rented after graduation. We walked out the door in a silent understanding, neither of us mentioning staying together. She went to London with her childhood friend to pursue her master's, while I remained at the company, grinding away. 7 years later, she had become a young, rising star in the design world with a promising career and a perfect family. I was still hustling at the same old company. When we saw each other again, she was clinging to her childhood friend's arm, looking down at my slightly disheveled state with a mocking smile. "It's been years, Mike. How did you end up looking like a beggar?" she scoffed. I paid her no mind. Later, when the CEO of a top global design firm was playfully tugging on my arm, Mia's composure finally broke. She looked completely flustered. "Mike Anderson, how could you be all over another woman like that?" It all started when Professor Wallace organized a class reunion. Mia Thompson was back in town, having transformed into a top designer with fame and fortune to her name. As I walked in, our old classmates were fawning over her talent. "Mia, you're a titan in our industry now," one said. "We all knew it back at Northwestern. You were a natural, an assignment that took us a week, you'd knock out in 2 days. I heard you even set up the Thompson Scholarship at the university. That's incredible. If I'd known, I would have tried to work for you." Mia's not just brilliant, she's gorgeous too. I heard her boyfriend now is the whole package, rich and handsome. I'm dying to know, how did you two get together? Mia lowered her head with a faint smile. "It was just fate," she said. "Then, someone brought me up. Why did you and Mike break up? I remember you two were so in love back then. I was totally rooting for you." Mia's brow furrowed, and her smile turned stiff. "We just weren't a good fit," she said curtly. Everyone took the hint, quickly changing the subject to how she and Jason Vance were such a perfect power couple. After brushing the dirt off my clothes, I held my head high and walked in. Our old class president spotted me immediately. "Hey, look everyone. Our campus heartthrob is walking this way. Mike, my man, get over here. Let's get you a drink. What happened to you? You look like you took a tumble," someone asked. I just laughed and made some small talk. Then I turned and my eyes met Mia's. She gave me a dismissive eye roll, her entire being radiating contempt from head to toe. Her makeup was flawless, and her designer dress made her look like a pampered princess. Jason, in a bespoke suit, stood beside her with a hand gently resting on her shoulder. Standing together, they really did look like the perfect couple. And then there was me. Traces of mud still stained my clothes, making me look a mess. But I didn't let it bother me. I gave her a slight nod as a greeting, and then turned away to chat with some other friends. "Hey, do you guys remember Chloe Sterling?" someone asked. Of course. She was a legend on campus. Beautiful, rich, and brilliant. The total package. She was one of Professor Wallace's students, too. I heard she's coming in a bit. I heard she's done incredibly well for herself these past few years. Even sponsored a few of Professor Wallace's research projects. As they talked, I just looked down at my phone. It was still going to be a while before the professor arrived. Being covered in mud was really getting uncomfortable. I called a courier to bring me a change of clothes and went to the restroom to change. When I came out, Mia was pacing by the door. I had no desire to get into it with her, so I started to walk away. But she called out to me. "After all these years slaving away at that dead-end company, you still can't even afford an Uber to a reunion, and then you faceplant in the mud outside. How utterly pathetic." I turned to face that all-too-familiar face and replied firmly, "That's my business, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you." Mia clenched her jaw. "Fine. Then you can stay in the mud for the rest of your life, for all I care." She then turned and clicked away on her heels. But halfway down the hall, she glanced back at me, a smug look on her face. "Mike, you're just as stubborn as you've always been," she said. "But no matter how good your act is, I know you regret every—" Regret it? Watching her figure recede into the distance, my mind drifted back to our previous life. In that life, Mia and I had gotten married young. For a while, things were okay. But eventually, our marriage crumbled under the weight of everyday life. Right before we were reborn, we had a massive fight. The fight was about her wanting me to quit my job and move to Europe with her for a fresh start. I wasn't willing to give up everything we had built in Chicago. Mia was smashing things, screaming, completely losing control. I rubbed my temples. If we both moved to Europe, what about Lily? Lily was our daughter. Mia was an only child, and her parents were getting older. My parents passed away a long time ago. Her parents didn't want us to leave them and work overseas, and Lily was too young to be uprooted. That's why I'd always chosen to stay and work here. The firm wasn't huge, but the benefits were great. If I kept at it, I had a real shot at making partner. It was a tough road, but it was a clear one. But for Mia, and to give her family a better life, the hard work was worth it. Besides, my in-laws treated me like their own son. I cherished my family and everything I had. But the good times didn't last. Ever since Mia visited a friend's firm in Paris, she became obsessed with moving abroad. She was convinced that if she had just gone to Europe for school from the start, she would have been far more successful. The truth was, our life wasn't bad at all. We owned our home and our car with no debt. We had a seven-figure sum in our savings account, but she was still unhappy with it. Mia's eyes were red as she stared at me, unblinking. "Don't you dare think you can use our child to trap me for the rest of my life," she yelled. "My parents are getting older, sure, but they're perfectly healthy and have their pensions. They don't need us to look after them. Besides, we can just take Lily with us. And if my parents get sick, we could just move them over there to live with us." She made it all sound so simple, uprooting our child and our parents to start over from scratch. It's never that easy. We'd have to adapt to a new language, a new culture, new schools, new jobs. We'd barely be able to manage ourselves, let alone take care of everyone else. I tried to reason with her patiently, but she cut me off before I could start. "Mike, I'm asking you one last time. Are you choosing me or that dead-end job?" she screamed. "If you choose that job, we're getting a divorce right now." I just stood there stunned. I couldn't believe she would actually divorce me over this. "Mia, why are you so determined to throw everything away and start over?" I just couldn't wrap my head around it. A mocking smile played on her lips. "What do you think you can possibly achieve in this city?" she sneered. "Even if you don't care about your own future, even if you're content to just coast, you have to think about Lily. Do you want her to end up just like you? Spending her whole life kissing up to a boss." I was furious. Is wanting to make partner in my firm coasting? I shot back. "Mia, you don't have to move to Europe to be successful. You can make it anywhere if you're good enough. The life we have now is the best security we can give Lily and your parents." "Enough." Mia cut me off impatiently. "If you won't go, I'll go myself. I should have never married you. You have no ambition, no courage. You're just a spineless coward." She yelled insults as she threw her things into a suitcase. It wasn't the first time she'd said things like that. I used to tell myself she was just brutally honest, that she didn't mean it. But thinking back on it now, I realized the truth. The things a person says every day, can they really be lies? In her heart, I was probably nothing more than a pathetic failure. She stormed out with her suitcase, and I followed, worried she might do something reckless in her state. I don't know what happened up ahead. The taxi driver swerved and drove straight into the river. I immediately dove in after her, but my ankle got tangled in the reeds. She was trapped in the sinking car, unable to get out. The next thing I knew, we were reborn. In a silent, mutual agreement, we never mentioned getting married again. She ignored her parents' protests and left for her studies abroad. And just like in the last life, I stayed at my firm. I made my choice, and I don't regret it. On my way back to the banquet hall, my wife called me. "My assistant just told me you fell into a planter saving a little kid," she said, her voice filled with concern. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" The urgency in her voice made me smile. "No, I'm totally fine. Don't worry," I assured her. "Oh, good. I just have a few more things to wrap up here. Then I'll head over." "Okay, no ruse. Take your time. See you in a bit," I said. After hanging up, I was still smiling. Then the class president called my name, letting me know Professor Wallace was running a little late. He grinned and waved me over. "Come on, have a drink with us." "It's been too long," he said. "And you have to try this wine Mia brought back." The moment I stepped back in, Jason was already waiting for me. Before I could even protest, he shoved a glass into my hand. "Mike, you have to try this," he insisted. A crowd had formed around him and Mia, all of them gushing about how amazing the wine was. I took a small sip and set the glass down. Honestly, it was pretty mediocre. Besides, my wife and I were trying for a baby, so I wasn't supposed to be drinking much anyway. But Jason stuck to me like glue, insisting I give him a full tasting review. Everyone there had been navigating social minefields for years. They all knew what he was doing. It was obvious he was trying to put me on the spot. When I didn't say anything, a few others started to pile on, sensing the shift in the room. "I guess Mike can't tell a good wine from a bad one." Huh. One of them snickered. "It's like casting pearls before swine." "No offense, Mike, just a joke to lighten the mood." Another chimed in. "Well, you know Professor Wallace, he's so kind-hearted. He invites all his former students, no matter who they are. Come on, guys, be nice." Everyone knows Mike was always Professor Wallace's favorite, always kissing up to him. Every comment was a backhanded insult. Jason just stood there, smiling with satisfaction. All right, I just wanted Mike to try the wine, that's all," he said, but his eyes were full of challenge. I had no patience for his petty games or these sycophants. I walked over to the doorway to check a message from my wife. She was still checking if I was okay and said she'd be arriving with Professor Wallace soon. I replied, telling her I was fine and to be safe. Just as I sent the message, Mia appeared. Mike, I always knew you were a coward for not wanting to move abroad, she said. But I never thought that after all these years, you'd become such a wimp you can't even finish a glass of wine. So she'd just been watching from the sidelines. Jason and I are getting engaged, she announced, casually flicking her hair. You know, if you just come to London with me to start our careers, we'd probably be married with kids by now. But no, you had to be stubborn. And the result of your stubbornness is that you've achieved nothing. You're a laughingstock, a nobody. I cut off her tirade. Congratulations, I said flatly. Mia's expression immediately hardened. Congratulations for what? She snapped. Congratulations on getting engaged. I wish you both the best. My words seemed to make her even angrier, her eyes glaring at me. I had no idea why she was so upset. She looked furious. You'd better be sincere, she hissed. I just looked down and walked past her back into the room. If it wasn't for Professor Wallace, I never would have come. Everyone was so dramatic. I found an empty side room to get some peace and quiet. When I went back to the main room, everyone was staring at me strangely. I had no idea why. Then Jason spoke up. It's fine, it's just a watch. If it's gone, it's gone. Let's not ruin the mood over it, he said magnanimously. His watch was missing, and the only two people who had been close to him were me and Mia. During that whole wine-tasting fiasco, Jason had kept his hand on my shoulder. Combined with the obvious tension between us, everyone naturally assumed I'd taken his watch as some kind of petty revenge. You're too nice, Jason. That was a gift from Mia, wasn't it? If it were me, I'd get to the bottom of this, someone said. Exactly. It's one thing to be broke, but another to resort to petty theft. I frowned, my voice sharp with annoyance. If you have something to say, just say it. We're all adults here. Stop with the passive-aggressive comments. Oh, so you don't like our comments? Then maybe you shouldn't do things to be commented on. A guy in glasses shot back. I walked right up to him, my expression grim. He looked startled and quickly took a couple of steps back. What? You're gonna hit me just for telling the truth? He stammered. Hit you? I scoffed. You're not even worth the effort. You. He was sputtering, his fists clenched in fury. Seeing how awkward things had gotten, someone else stepped in to play peacemaker. Okay guys, come on. This is a reunion Professor Wallace organized for us. It's supposed to be a happy occasion. Let's not ruin it. Jason chimed in with false generosity. We were all the professor's students. No need to make a scene. Let's just drop it. I turned to look at his hypocritical expression and let out a short, humorless laugh. Drop it? No way. We're getting to the bottom of this right now, I said. I want to see exactly who's trying to frame me. You'd think it was a priceless artifact, the way you're all going on about this watch. My words clearly hit a nerve with Jason. His face darkened. I guess Mike must be used to wearing million-dollar watches, he said sarcastically. Who knew? Mike is so modest about his wealth. The others laughed along. Modest? More like faking it. Look at the mud on his clothes when he got here. He probably ran the whole way because he couldn't afford a ride and tripped. Hey, maybe he's just an avid jogger, someone joked. The whole group burst out laughing. Just then, Mia walked back into the room. What's so funny? She asked. The laughter died instantly. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and her voice trembled slightly. You could tell she'd been crying. Jason immediately went to her side, pulling her into a comforting embrace. What's wrong? He asked gently. Mia burrowed into his chest like a kitten seeking comfort. She just shook her head, signaling that she was fine. The onlookers immediately started gushing again. They're such a perfect couple, one of them sighed. Mia asked again what had happened. Jason shot a look in my direction. The watch you gave me is gone, he said pointedly. The only person I was near was Mike. Mia pulled away from Jason and gave me a cold look. Then just make him pay for it, she said. He's been working for 7 years. Surely he can afford to replace one watch. With those words, the two of them had already declared me guilty. Mia, how much was that watch? Anyway, someone asked. $500,000, she replied. A collective gasp went through the room. Wow, that's serious. I knew it looked expensive. Yeah, $500,000 for a watch. You can't underestimate that kind of money. The crowd's fawning clearly boosted Jason's ego. He cleared his throat, ready to hold court again. Actually, it's a discontinued model, so the market value is even higher now, he announced. But we're all old classmates here. I don't want to make things awkward. Mia just stood by his side, watching everything with a cold expression. Jason put on his magnanimous act again. The money is nothing to us. But for you, it would probably take a decade to earn that much, he said condescendingly. So how about this? Just give me a sincere apology, and we'll call it even. I let out a cold laugh. Just as I was about to respond, someone shoved me hard from behind. I stumbled forward, losing my balance and knocking Jason to the floor. The bottle of wine he'd been holding shattered, soaking his expensive suit. Mia rushed over to help him up. Mike, what is wrong with you? She shrieked. Someone in the crowd muttered that I must be jealous of Jason, and the topic took off. Well, Mike and Mia used to be a thing, right? Now she's with Jason, and they're so successful. Of course he's jealous. He sees his ex-girlfriend living the high life, and now he regrets it. A little late for that. Yeah, I never thought Mike would be so petty. What a bunch of morons. I pressed my lips together in frustration. Someone pushed me. I didn't mean to knock into him. Mike, Jason interrupted, his voice dripping with false sympathy. I know it's hard for you, seeing Mia and me together now. But that was a long time ago. It's all in the past. He sounded as if he were the one being wronged. Mia frowned at me. Mike, whatever was between us is over. It's been over for a long time, and there's no going back. Ever. I suppressed my anger and spoke through gritted teeth. You're right. It is over. And there is absolutely no chance of it ever happening again. See? Now he's playing hard to get, someone whispered loudly. It didn't matter what I said. They were convinced I was just putting on a show. I wasn't going to waste my breath arguing with these idiots. I turned to walk away, but Mia grabbed my arm. Mike, you haven't apologized to Jason yet. I struggled to keep my composure. Someone deliberately pushed me. It wasn't my fault, and I'm not apologizing to him. As for the watch, I'm calling the police and letting them sort it out. Jason affected a magnanimous air again. Forget it, really. It's just a watch. Let him do what he wants. The sycophants immediately started in on me again. Look at how Jason handles things, and then look at Mike. There's just no comparison. That's class. No wonder he's so successful, while some people are still just low-level employees after all this time. Just then, Chloe Sterling and Professor Wallace arrived. What's all the commotion about? The professor asked. Chloe, you made it, someone shouted, and suddenly everyone was swarming around her, trying to get her attention. The Sterling family was one of the most prominent in Chicago. Chloe herself had carved out a massive reputation in the industry, becoming the CEO of one of the top global design firms. Naturally, everyone wanted to network with her. While Mia had her own company, it was nothing compared to Chloe's empire. Mia stood off to the side, her face pale. A moment ago, she had been the center of the universe. Now that the spotlight had shifted, she was clearly furious. Chloe was completely surrounded. I had to squeeze my way through the crowd to get to her. She took my hand as soon as I reached her. What was all that about? She asked quietly. Before I could even answer, everyone else started chiming in, eager to tell their version of the story. After listening to them, Chloe glanced at me, a confused look on her face. You're jealous of them? She asked. I shook my head emphatically. Of course not. They're making it all up. Someone pushed me into him. Seeing how earnest I was, Chloe couldn't help but chuckle. Of course I believe you, she said. So, how much for the spilled wine and the suit? I can cover it. Then she leaned in closer with a playful smile. After all, I'm the one holding all your money. Seeing how close Chloe and I were, the others started to look uneasy. Mia's expression was now colder than ice. Jason was forcing a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. Let's just drop it. Bringing money into it will just make things awkward, Jason said quickly. I scoffed. Money won't hurt anything between us. What's more important is the truth. Chloe nodded in agreement. Then she turned to me. Did you drink? She asked. I gave her an apologetic smile. Just a tiny sip. Chloe just shook her head gently. I'm not scolding you. It's just not good for you to be drinking such cheap wine. Cheap wine. The crowd immediately seized on that phrase. No way. That's impossible. Jason brought this back from a private vineyard in France. Someone protested. Yes, Miss Sterling, you must be mistaken. My father-in-law is a wine connoisseur. As a result, our home cellar is filled with thousands of bottles. Chloe's been around it so much she can tell a quality vintage from a fake with a single sniff. It's not exactly a complex vintage, she said coolly. It's quite easy to tell. Jason's fake smile finally vanished. His voice was laced with sarcasm now. Ms. Sterling and Mike certainly seemed close. Chloe just nodded. Then, she took out her phone and made a quick call. Everyone looked confused. I'd say the truth will come out in about 5 minutes, she said calmly. This hotel is one of ours. The manager is bringing the security footage up right now. Seeing the concern in Chloe's eyes, I felt like none of the day's drama could actually get to me. The other classmates were shifting uncomfortably, clearly regretting how they'd sided with Jason. A flicker of panic crossed Jason's face, but he tried to cover it. Ms. Sterling, I hope you wouldn't fabricate evidence just to protect your friend, he said. Chloe replied slowly. There's no need for false evidence. The real question is, who are you trying to fool by passing off cheap knockoffs as the real thing? Jason was rendered speechless. Mia stood silently beside him, her face a cold mask. The The truth came out quickly. It was all a setup orchestrated by Jason. The footage showed him taking off his own watch and slipping it into my jacket pocket. It even showed him signaling someone to stand behind me and push me. Jason, man, are we really wasting the wine like this? The accomplice asked on the video. For a loser like Mike? It's not worth it. Jason's smug grin stretched from ear to ear. It's $10 a bottle trash, Jason scoffed. You think I'd serve the good stuff to that crowd of idiots? Please, what do they know about fine wine? I could fart in a glass, and those morons would call it aromatic. His accomplice nodded eagerly, praising Jason's genius. When the video ended, Jason's face was a horrifying shade of pale. He tried to make excuses, but no one was buying it. Wow, he really learned some sneaky tricks overseas, someone muttered. To be honest, I thought that wine tasted like rotten grapes, another admitted. But I just figured Jason's so rich, he wouldn't serve us cheap stuff. Well, I guess you can't judge a book by its cover. Maybe that's how he got so rich, by penny pinching. With every comment, Jason's face grew darker. The atmosphere was excruciatingly awkward. Mia kept her head down, her expression hidden. Finally, Professor Wallace stepped in to smooth things over, and the incident was put to rest. Soon, everyone was clinking glasses again, pretending to be civilized. Chloe, why don't you share some of your secrets to success with us? Professor Wallace said, beaming with pride from his seat at the head of the table. I had been tuning everything out, but now I leaned forward, interested. My wife was about to give a speech. Near the end, she looked right at me. They say behind every successful woman is a supportive man, she began. And I owe everything I have today to my wonderful husband, Mike Anderson. The announcement hung in the air, making our relationship crystal clear. You could hear a collective gasp from around the room. Chloe Sterling is married to Mike Anderson. Wow. Mike is really good at keeping a secret. He didn't say a single word. Across the table, Mia's expression twisted into something strange. She was looking at me with pure resentment, as if I were the one who had cheated on her. She didn't even wait for Professor Wallace to finish speaking. She just stood up and stormed out of the room. Jason scrambled to follow her. After the reunion officially wrapped up, I was suddenly surrounded by people. We knew you were a private person, Mike, but this is next level. You and Chloe make such a beautiful couple. Yes, you two look perfect together. Seriously, why didn't you invite us to the wedding? We would have loved to celebrate with. Chloe was off to the side, taking a work call. I had no interest in talking to these people. It was a private ceremony, I said dismissively. Excuse me, I have to get going. The hint was obvious enough. They reluctantly dispersed. Just then, Chloe finished her call. She came over and grabbed my arm, pouting playfully. My mom just reminded me to pick up the custom birthday gift she ordered for my dad on our way home, she said. Of course, no problem, I replied. But I have that conference call in a bit. I smiled and gently tapped her on the forehead. Okay, I'll go get it. You just focus on your work, Madam CEO. Chloe grinned, but then her eyes flickered to something over my shoulder. Miss Thompson has been staring at you this whole time, she mumbled, her lips forming an adorable pout. I leaned in close. But I only have eyes for you, I whispered. My words made Chloe's face light up. Hug me, she demanded playfully. I wrapped my arms around her. I love you, I murmured into her ear. I watched her get safely in her car before I turned to leave. But then Mia called my name. Her eyes and the tip of her nose were red from crying. Did you really marry Chloe Sterling? She asked, her voice trembling. I just nodded, not wanting to engage. She suddenly started hitting me with her handbag, over and over. I backed away, wanting nothing to do with this unhinged behavior. Mike, how could you marry another woman behind my back? She screamed. How could you do this to me? Her words made no sense. You would think I was the one who had been unfaithful. Don't talk like that. We broke up 7 years ago, I said firmly, and you're about to start your own family with Jason. No, she cried out, her voice cracking. We're not together. That was a lie. I only said that to make you jealous. None of it was real, she sobbed. For 7 years, you never once reached out to me. She sounded like she was the victim. I took another step back, putting more distance between us. After we were reborn, you're the one who left for London without a single word. I reminded her. She fell silent. Regardless, I continued. It's over between us. In a last life, and in this one, whatever debts we had are paid. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. You've built your career, and I have my own family now. We shouldn't see each other again. When she heard that, she panicked. Mike, the only reason I left was to prove to you that I was right. I sighed. I looked at her, my voice devoid of emotion. No, you just wanted to prove that you were doing better than me, I said. If you knew my real situation, you never would have come to this reunion. You just wanted to rub my face in it. Mia shook her head, denying it. Mike, I've thought about you every single day for the past 7 years. Thought about me? I countered. Or thought about me regretting my choice. wished I would come crawling back to you, begging for forgiveness. She was silent again. I gave a small, sad smile. Mia, since we went our separate ways, I haven't regretted it for a single moment. Whatever happened in our last life, it's over. Over, she cried. We had a child together in our last life. How can you just say it's over? She grabbed onto my arm. Mike, have you no conscience? If I didn't have a conscience, I wouldn't have jumped into that river to save you. I wouldn't have died trying to get you out. To be honest, right after I was reborn, there was a heavy feeling in my chest. We had been together since college. We were married for 18 years in that life. I truly loved her once, and I cherished the family we built. That's why I dove in after her without a second thought. But I've had time to think since then. We were just fundamentally different people. You can't force something that isn't meant to be. We fought endlessly about our careers. Every argument was just another reminder of how incompatible our views were. We weren't right for each other, and staying together only caused more pain for both of us. The unresolved issues from our past life suddenly felt so clear in this one. Mia was crying again. Mike, I still don't get it. Why wouldn't you come to London with me? You have no other family. It was just me and Lily. Why would you stay here all alone when we were there? I just shook my head slowly. No, I said. Originally, I stayed in Chicago because of you. You were always sheltered, and your parents didn't want you to move away and struggle. To be with you, I stayed. Later, I stayed because I cherished our family. Your parents treated me like their own son. They were getting older, and I couldn't just leave them. I didn't want Lily to be dragged around the world at such a young age, with no stable home. Mia's eyes glazed over, as if she was lost in memory. Mia, did you really leave for Lily's sake? I asked softly. I don't think so. I think you left for your own pride. You couldn't stand seeing people you looked down on in college suddenly become more successful than you. You couldn't accept it. We shouldn't see each other again. Take care of yourself, Mia. I turned to leave, but Mia ran in front of me, blocking my way. Mike, you don't mean that. You're just angry, she pleaded. I know you're mad that I left without saying anything, but I'm back now. Please, don't say things you don't mean. Angry words? Things I don't mean? How could she possibly think that? I couldn't have been more clear. Suddenly, she reached out and pulled a chain out from under my shirt collar. This is the good luck charm I gave you when we first started dating, she whispered. It's been so many years, the cord is so worn, but you're still wearing it. I snatched it back from her hand. The whole situation was just absurd. In our last life, she did give me a little charm like this. I gave one to her too, but she took hers off after a few days, saying it was ugly. I wore mine for a long time, but that was a long time ago. This charm wasn't the one from her. Chloe had gone on a trip and brought this back for me. You're mistaken, I said. This is for my wife. I got rid of the one you gave me years ago. I don't believe you. She stared at me, her eyes wide. You're just trying to hurt me. Mike, divorce her, she begged. I don't mind that you've been married before. If you don't want to move, I'll stay here for you. I have money now. I can support you in whatever you want to do. We can have another baby. We can bring Lily back. She was completely delusional. Talking to her was giving me a headache. I sighed. I am not divorcing Chloe, I said, my voice heavy with finality. You won't divorce her? I didn't answer, just walked away. Fine. Don't you come to regret this. Mia screamed after me. Later, our old class president told me Mia had gone back to London. She was finally gone. Her pestering had been exhausting, but as soon as she stopped, others started. Ever since that reunion, my phone had been blowing up. Old classmates were adding me on social media, even asking for business collaborations. I told my assistant to turn them all down. I had no interest in working with a bunch of opportunists. On my birthday, Chloe woke me up bright and early. Hubby, get dressed. I'm taking you out, she announced. I looked at her with a fond smile. It's so early. Don't you want to sleep in a little? Chloe just laughed. It's a beautiful day. We can't waste it sleeping. She took me to a beautiful rooftop garden restaurant where she had planned a surprise birthday party for me. The entire day was filled with one wonderful surprise after another. Looking at Chloe's smiling face, I felt like the luckiest man alive. I was so fortunate to have a wife like her. When I needed comfort, she was there. When I needed support, she was there. She was even the one who asked me out first. I once asked her why she chose me, why she was so good to me. Because you deserve it, she had said, without a moment's hesitation. Chloe told me she'd known who I was long before we were formally introduced. She'd seen me once, helping an old woman push her fruit car up a hill. Do you know why I chose Professor Wallace as my advisor? She had asked. Because I wanted to be in the same program as you. Because you were there. But then you and Mia got together, so I just watched from afar and wished you both happiness. Luckily, fate was on my side in the end, she'd said. I finally got to be with you. And meeting her in this life truly felt like a blessing. We had a perfect night together. The next morning, Mia was waiting outside my office building. Her face was pale, and she looked exhausted. As soon as she saw me, she shot to her feet. "You're here. I thought you'd left the country. What are you doing here?" Hearing my question, her face lit up. She'd clearly mistaken my surprise for concern, and her delight was impossible to hide. I sighed inwardly. "Mike, yesterday was your birthday. I waited here for you all day," she said. "This is for you." She pulled a small, elegant gift box from her purse. It was a watch, the exact same model as Jason's. I barely glanced at it. "I can't accept this. My wife would get the wrong idea," I said, "and I don't want to upset her." "Mike," she said, her voice sharp with displeasure, her red-rimmed eyes glaring at me. Then her tone softened again. "I've sold everything I owned in London. I'm staying here from now on. I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay here with you." "Mike, please stop being so cold to me. It hurts so much. I know I made a lot of mistakes. I'm sorry. Please, can you forgive me?" She kept repeating it over and over. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. Please forgive me." She sounded more humble than I had ever heard her. But all just gave me a headache. It was all in the past. I was getting annoyed, my expression hardening. "Mia, I thought I made myself perfectly clear last time. It's over between us. Whether you can accept that or not, there's no future for us." "Honey," Chloe was walking towards me, holding a small box. "A little something for you. I hope you have a great day," she said brightly. Ever since we got together, she'd given me a small gift every single morning. I took the gift and gave her a gentle kiss on the forehead. Mia stared at us, her face a mask of disbelief. She hastily wiped a tear from her eye. "Hello," she stammered. Chloe gave her a polite hello back. At that, Mia turned and practically fled. "Am I that scary?" Chloe mumbled under her breath. I couldn't help but chuckle. "Of course not," I said. "So, what were you two talking about?" "I'm pretty sure I heard her ask you to get back together with her," she said, her jealous pout absolutely adorable. I playfully tapped her on the nose. "And did you also happen to hear your husband's very firm and final no?" After that day, I didn't see Mia for a long time, but she started sending me messages. They were either long, rambling apologies or nostalgic trips down memory lane. I blocked her number every time, but she would just get a new one and start again. It was relentless. And she started telling me she was sick, begging me to come visit her. I'm not a doctor. I finally changed my number, and at last there was silence. Sometime later, we ran into each other at a hospital. "Mike, are you here to see me?" Mia cried, rushing towards me. She was in a hospital gown and looked painfully thin. She looked seriously ill, but that had nothing to do with me. "No," I said. "I'm here with my wife for her appointment." The light in Mia's eyes seemed to go out. She started to say something else, but her words were disjointed and rambling, perhaps a symptom of her illness. She began talking again about us getting back together. I cut her off. "Mia, do you realize you're not making any sense right now?" She just stared at me, looking confused. Just then, Chloe walked over. I rushed to her side, taking her arm gently. "Sweetheart, slow down. Where's the fire?" "Look at you." "So worried," she laughed. "I'm only 2 months along. Still, better to be safe than sorry." "I don't want you to overdo it," I said. We chatted and laughed as we walked toward the exit. "Honey," Chloe said quietly, "next time, let's go to a different clinic so we don't keep running into people from the past." "Okay," I agreed instantly. Even though she was a little jealous in that moment, I felt a profound sense of happiness. Then, behind us, Mia screamed my name. Her voice was thick with sobs. "Mike, what do I have to do to make you come back to me?" I didn't even slow down, because I was never, ever going back. The past was in the past. My only job was to cherish the wonderful life I had now.